we back and all that. Must see basketball. I got one of the greats, one of the best street ball players ever, Larry Williams, aka the Bone Collector. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever seen this guy play? Wow, it's unbelievable. You seeing a goodie. One of the and I'm just gonna say what Shaq said one time, and you know who Shaquille O'Neal was. They said he has the dangerous handle in the world. You know what I'm saying? Coming from Shaq. So
Appreciate that, bro.
you already
Yes,
know.
sir.
All right, my
Yes,
man
sir.
Bone. So I was always curious, right? Mhm. Where did that name Bone Collector come from?
That story is crazy because the first 5 games in Rucker, I was making people fall,
Mhm.
and they was getting hurt a little bit every time something that happened. They was falling, and then I would say like the fifth game, my good friend, his name is David Seals. They called him the Enigma.
Okay.
He called me, um, and at the time we had two ways, and he was like, "I got the perfect name for you. Call me." So I went to the payphone to call him, and I called him, and he's like, "Bro, I think they should call you the Bone Collector." Because he seen me doing that before I even got to the park. People falling in the gate. We was at Bradhurst.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace, my man Trey Bag was outside watching us play.
Mm-hmm.
And I shook somebody. He fell into the gate. He flipped it and fell into the gate and hit his
Mm-hmm.
head.
Mm-hmm.
And me, I'm a hooper. I'm arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm yelling like, I need to go to jail because I'm literally about to kill him. Look at him. He unconscious. I was wilding.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't a productive moment as far as human nature goes, but Dave was watching all of this, people
Mm-hmm.
getting physically hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I was like, bro, that name makes a lot of sense, bro. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if that's gonna rock because it's a movie. It was a movie out at the time called The Bone Collector with Denzel Washington and Angelina Jolie. And I was like, man, it ain't gonna translate. Next thing you know, I hear EJ on the mic saying, when I get the ball, I was dribbling down. I never forget it like it was yesterday. He was saying, the bone collector. And after that, it just spread like wildfire.
Yeah,
And
because I was at them games and I was like, yo, I was like, this guy is different, man. This guy is different. And another thing I wanted to know, like, what was like your start, your beginning? What attracted you to basketball? Like how you what was your beginning?
my beginning was I was about 4 years old, and my father, who is the greatest player I've ever hooped against, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
He used to go to the park. He was a little older at the time, and he used to, like, he would go to the park and he would pick me and my mom
Mm-hmm.
to play on his team and get two random people, and we win all the time. And my original nickname is Speedy, so he used to just have me playing defense and using,
Mm-hmm.
learning how to play without the ball. And at the first beginning of it, I didn't like basketball. I was more into football and karate.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to be like Bruce Lee when I was a kid.
Okay.
I loved Bruce Lee's energy. I loved how quick he was with his hands and all that stuff. So, and I knew he was a small guy, and I was always short. And then my dad was like, you know what? We're just gonna I'm gonna show you how good you can be. So he used to do little things like he would get the big jar of pennies and put them on the ground, and he said, how much noise can you make on your crossover? So my crossover became a weapon. So I would dribble it on those pennies on the ground, and you know how pennies sound when you wipe your hand across them. They make that shh.
Yeah.
So I would do it to the point where I would shake the pennies up off the ground. I would dribble so fast and so strong, the pennies would fly up in the air. So my crossover became like a punch
Mm.
when I was a kid. So, and then he would put me in against only adults. So we go to parks, and back then I didn't play with shoes on
Mm.
because I like to feel the ground when I'm dribbling and stopping. And it just like from there, I realized how good I was, and I started to analyze the game different. I started to see things that most kids wouldn't see. Like I always saw coaches say, play defense like this. So I said, well, you got your legs open. That means any move I make, I could just dribble through your legs and I can keep going. So by the time I was 7, 8 years old, I would throw it through the whole team's legs just because it was available. And
Wow.
some coaches were frowned upon that, but my dad always told me, what makes you good, it shouldn't make people mad. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care how they feel about it. You master it. If you
Yeah.
master it, then it becomes weaponized and people will respect it more. So it started from there, and then it just grew on and on from there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I know like me from watching you play, I mean like not only that you played the game and you played it well, and you was very entertaining. It was like watching like art. You know what I'm saying? So like when you watching somebody play and somebody that could just take over the whole game and be mesmerized, like you had a lot of charisma on the court. And so
Appreciate
like
that.
it's like I remember going to like, the entertainer, the Rucker tournament and all that. It was like, yeah, Bone got a game today. And you just see like how everybody just gravitate to the park. I mean, like we talking like standing room only, like, people like basically on the court. The
Yeah.
bleachers is packed and all of that. How I feel the play like in the Rucker, or I know you did it in a lot of other tournaments, but how you felt playing there with that type of atmosphere.
Oh man, I would say it was uh it was mentally stimulating, but not just because it was a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
When you are in the polo grounds
Mm-hmm.
and you're eating wings and french fries with those people that are out there
Mm-hmm.
cheering for you,
Mm-hmm.
it made you do a lot more than you normally would. So I was playing for the block. Shout out to
Mm-hmm.
Polo Grounds and
Shout
Colonials.
out Paula Grounds.
I didn't want to disappoint them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first opportunity that I got to show myself and show my skills, I made sure I would just do the most outstanding and amazing thing I could
Mm-hmm.
possibly do. And I wasn't measuring it up to anybody else. I
Mm-hmm.
just felt like what I was doing was unique enough to
Mm-hmm.
stand on its own. But the feeling itself was just like, being at home. Like you got your family
Mm-hmm.
cheering for you and so on and so forth. But what did shock me is when I had big games like Bone Collector versus Skip or Bone Collector versus whoever was popular at the time, that when I got up to the park or got off the train, you couldn't see in the park.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it blew me away. So it's like walking into a cage match, and you going in there and you can't see what's in there, and then you go in and it's
Mm-hmm.
about you.
Mm-hmm.
So I would get in there and you would see people, yeah, clapping and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So New York energy is a special place for that because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people here they have to grow up with tough skin.
Yeah.
So you have to
That's
learn
true.
that. You have to learn to deal with heckling. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing that I wasn't used to is the word bum.
Mm-hmm.
Like I heard that when, he's a bum. I used to be
Yeah.
like, what are they talking about? And they were like, man, if you don't perform, New York was a place where you can't. It's not like now social media. You can post how nice you're doing, but back then every week you got to prove yourself. So
Yeah.
you didn't have that opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
let the team down or let the city down. You had to show and prove every week. So
Mm-hmm.
that experience changed the way I approach the game. Even to this day, being that I'm still playing professional
Yeah.
basketball at my age,
Mm-hmm.
it made me work harder. So
Mm-hmm.
I love that energy.
So and like when you was playing like in the tournaments in New York, it was did any player that you played against that you got up for that game, like like the competitiveness, like say, oh, I'm playing against Tinsley today,
Uh-huh.
or I'm playing against Skip. I mean, was there any preparation
Yeah.
or how you approach those games?
Well, I approached, like I said, rest in peace, my father. My
Yeah.
father taught me to always create war tactics. So it didn't
Mm-hmm.
matter who I was playing. If I knew I was playing Smush Parker or Tinsley or
Mm-hmm.
Sebastian Telfair or Stephon Marbury, I would go watch what they do and learn their habits the weeks before that.
Mm-hmm.
I would watch everything they do because I knew that in order to be effective, you have to be able to guard these people. And
Yeah.
it's impossible to stop somebody one-on-one, but you can make it difficult. So
Mm-hmm.
I would always prepare for that. I would go run up the steps,
Mm-hmm.
the steps in the back of Polo Grounds. I
Yeah.
would do everything I needed to do my
Mm-hmm.
pull-ups, my push-ups, and go to hoop every day, making sure I was on point. And then I would go to different gyms and always find the best player in the gym and guard that person just so I can be prepared to go through a battle. So I had the same preparation for everybody. I didn't take any shorts.
Oh, okay. Okay. So basically, like when you came out there, it was like no matter who the opponent was and who the team was, you was just there to do what you do.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make sure that they
Mhm.
respected me on a different level as far as, back then it was this big comparison between street ball and the NBA. And
Mhm.
at the time, people were watching more street ball than they were the NBA. The
Mhm.
Rucker Park DVDs and the N1 DVDs were being watched more than the NBA.
Mhm.
So I remember the beef between can the street ball players play pro was big.
Yeah.
So when the players would come out to the park, you
Mhm.
would get like David Stern and Shaq and
Yeah.
Kobe and all the rest in peace. These guys would come to the park
Yeah.
and just to see if they can prove themselves. So that level of skill was high. And mind you, I played against players that were, just amazing to me. Like,
Yeah.
I seen guys like Marcus Hatton, Reggie
Mhm.
Freeman,
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
Jerry McCullough,
Mhm.
and so on and so forth. The list goes on,
Mhm.
that were good in their own respective rights, prime
Mhm.
objective. And these guys would come out there and
Mhm.
give the NBA players all they could handle.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
that is
Facts.
what motivated me to kind of, see it that way as well.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah. So how you you feel about like say like because I'm gonna take it to like school wise like how these kids like say like all right say like junior high school
Hmm.
or high school like they reclassing like say like they instead of like advancing like graduating that
Hmm.
they'll stay back another year just to to play but they age wise is like above. How you
Hmm.
feel about them reclassing?
Um, because I work with a lot of NBA players and I work with a lot of high school players that are sometimes subjected to that,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that the NILs, the money, and all the things that come along with the game now
Mm-hmm.
have made it to where the kids are better off in their minds,
Mm-hmm.
or the parents are seeing it better off in their scenarios,
Mm-hmm.
that they're going to do whatever it takes to benefit that child to make sure they get the most money they can get.
Mm-hmm.
So the NBA is few and far in between.
Mm-hmm.
The portals and all the things that go on now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think basketball as a whole is going to be hurt at all because people just love the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know for a fact that some kids will get very, very depressed if they don't get to a certain level
Mm-hmm.
because of the portals and the things that are available. So you might
Mm-hmm.
have a kid that's 15 playing
Mm-hmm.
against eighth graders,
Yeah.
and if he gets a million views on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
the kid that's really an eighth grader
Mm-hmm.
is not going to feel adequate,
Mm-hmm.
and but he may not have the following and all that stuff. So I think
Mm-hmm.
you're dealing with two different emotional levels as far as how the game is being perceived, and I think that it takes people that have been through the fire to kind of
Mm-hmm.
walk the kids through that in some of those scenarios, because you do have scenarios where you got like a Michael Beasley
Mm-hmm.
and guys like that who are very talented, but
Mm-hmm.
then they end up getting in situations where mentally they can't get over certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying it's him in particular, but I'm just saying if that's addressed as an adult, if an adult
Mm-hmm.
has to deal with that, can you imagine what an 11-year-old would deal with when he's playing against a 16-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
So he goes home, he may not want to play anymore. So I think that's more of a question for how are the parents allowing themselves
Mm-hmm.
to be viewed as far as how they're raising their kids in that scenario.
Facts. Yeah. And I know that you play like almost like two different eras because like so how you feel about like the early 2000s right
Mm-hmm.
to like now like to differentiate the game like you is it the same or you notice any difference in the game that how it changed or whatever
Uh-huh.
being that you played early 2000 in the
Mm-hmm.
tournaments and in ball pro level whatever and then the this era like right now you
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a big difference. When I came into the New York scene, or even back in the day, we would create, and not just myself, when I say we, the
yeah
community of basketball players from N1 to Rucker to all over the world, from Chicago to Philly. We created moves, right? We
yeah
made up things.
mm-hmm,
Our imaginations were a little different.
mm-hmm,
I think the evolution of the game is a little halted because of social media. So
mm-hmm,
kids aren't as creative as they can be.
mm-hmm,
But I still think there's opportunities for it to grow and get to
mm-hmm,
that point, because you do have Kyrie Irvings and guys like that, and Darius Garlands and James Hardens and guys
mm-hmm,
who can push the envelope with the dribbling and handles and the way they score.
mm-hmm,
But it's definitely a big difference. Like most
mm-hmm,
of the scores in the league now are from other countries.
mm-hmm,
So the highest scoring players that we've seen in the last 5-6 years and MVPs have probably been foreigners,
mm-hmm,
because they take the time. Not to say that they get more information, but they don't have the highest skill set as most of the
mm-hmm,
players in America. So
mm-hmm,
if you compare like Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic, who has more skill, right?
mm-hmm.
They both are amazing players, right? Would you assume Luka has more skill, or Edwards? But that's where I can say take those two players, and then let's go back to my era. You take a Allen Iverson and a Kobe Bryant. Now, look at those. Look at the skill set and the difference between it. There's more of an urgency to figure out things that you can't figure out in
Mm-hmm.
my era.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guard Iverson? There's no way, right? How do you guard Kobe? There's no way. But people were
Mm-hmm.
adamant on figuring it out. And now I think the difference is with the rules and everything,
Mm-hmm.
there's no opportunity for you to figure out these players because they'll just get to the line. You know, they'll just get to the line and create, you know, space, the space they need. But there's always room for, I think, growth because, you know, you start with the babies and you change it from there. So I think it's still, I'm optimistic that it can still get to that point where you can kind of combine both eras because, you know, that's a big topic now. What's better, the 90s, the 2000s, even now, even LeBron James and the Michael Jordan comparison. Like that's another thing, you know. Can LeBron post up and fade away? You know, a lot of people say he can't do this, he can't do that. Well, I think LeBron James can do all of that. I just think we're spoiled by Michael Jordan, so we're able to see things perfected. And now we're able to. Now you're looking at something that is not as intense and not as solidified as that would be. But yeah, that's the biggest difference for me. You know, the mindset behind it. Why are you shooting? Why are you scoring? Why are you dribbling?
So I just want to change it up a little bit. So when you play, right? Did any player, you know, ever gave you the
No.
business?
What the hell?
No player.
No.
No. All right. So it was
Nah,
always
shout out all everybody in the New York scene. These were very good players. I'm just being arrogant. It was always a battle. Like it was always a battle with everybody I played. But I always got the best of all these battles because I just had that confidence that I was going to be the best no matter what. And I don't have to score to do it. I could play defense to do it. And then on top of that, I had the craziest handle on planet Earth. So there's no way they were going to be able to stop me. So I would say I would get the best out of 99% of the people I played back in that time, even now.
yeah, because that's crazy. Because you just took a question I was about to ask you and all that. How you rate your handle among other people?
I'm number one of all time.
Yeah.
I say that because, you know, there's multiple people who can handle the ball, but I can do most of the moves that I see people do, but I have moves that nobody can do. So my handle is outside of that trajectory, in my opinion. And I also have a move that is so deadly that it's never been stopped. My hesitation dribble that I learned with my father. I don't think, you know, people have the opportunity to do that move because they're not me. And it's not personal. Everyone has their own niche, but mine's weapons is almost as dangerous as the skyhook. You can't stop it.
Yeah. Because what else I even noticed, what else that I know that you mastered, because, you know, I watched a lot of basketball, you know, I played too. But that I never seen someone play like you that had a record of making people fall when they when they try to guard you. I mean, is it is it your attention? Cause how you get them? I was just curious because, you know, maybe I might want to steal that move or pass it on to somebody so they can. How you be making them fall like that? I mean, you know.
Now, I mean, that's a good question. I would say it's not something I started off trying to do. I just, you know, I'm very good with the ball. I would say it's just my preparation. Like I'm fast, I'm strong, and like I said, my mentors, my favorite athletes in the world are Bruce Lee, Mike Tyson, and Michael Jordan. So I combined all of those tactics into ways to keep the defense off me. And because I was so little at the time, in order for me to get a shot off, because I was, you know, 5'1", 5'2", I would have to shake you so far back or either make you fall just so I can shoot it. Because if I shot, I should shoot with this little hitch. And if I shot it wrong, I would get it blocked. So, you know, it wasn't something I was trying to do, but I'll just credit that to my dad, rest in peace. He just made sure my handles were just better than everybody's. I worked on everything when I was a kid.
And it was so crazy about it and all of that I'm quite sure people probably did it before, but it's it seemed like it's almost coined to you, cause I remember I don't know if you remember when TMZ approached you and all that, and you had made Floyd Mayweather fall, you know, so that was so big and all that, so it was you know, so it did take me to the time you know when Shaq, cause I'm quite sure you heard when Shaq said you had the best handle, you know, the most dangerous
Shout out
handle in the
Shaquille
world.
O'Neal, that's my
Shout
guy.
out Shaq. So I mean, yo, I was you know, I was just amazed, cause I can't even count how many people that you just made fall. I mean, I don't think that you can count them neither.
I just made somebody fall today.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I would say it's not, you know, something I was trying to do. I think it's more so when preparation meets opportunity. And it's a catch-22 for me because
Mm-hmm.
I can't play a regular game now. If a kid, I go to a gym to play, the kid pulls out his phone, make him fall, make him fall, make him fall, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, I do know how to make people fall. There's ways
Mm-hmm.
now because I've learned it for over and over again. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say it determines, it depends on how you take care of your body, your mind, your spirit when it comes to that, because basketball is a spiritual connection for me. So,
Yeah.
I learned that when I used to shoot the ball and the ball bounced on the rim like this,
Mm-hmm.
and then my body would move with the bounces,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized I was connected to that spiritual
Yeah.
sensation for the shot. So you transferred that into the basketball and the dribbling. So
Mm-hmm.
if I make a sharp move, I can tell
Mm-hmm.
if I make a certain move, if you haven't stretched your hamstrings, then you're going to pull your hamstring.
Yeah.
If I do a certain crossover, if you're going one way, if I throw it this way, you have to turn around to go get the ball back, but I've already thrown it back this way. I know you're eventually going to
Mm-hmm.
turn and you're going to have to stop.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking back at me, you're probably going to roll your ankle if you stop and you're not looking at your feet. So
Yeah.
it's almost like being an assassin,
Yeah.
and humbly. It's
Yeah.
almost like
Yeah. Yeah.
knowing what you can do
Yeah.
and breaking it out when you can.
And then I remember how you became like high demand, because I remember at one time I was coaching and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was forming a team. And like one of the first times I seen you play, like it was in the Gaucho gym, and right after the game, because I wanted you to play with me and all of that, but like you had like the guys from China, they all wanted you, like you was like high demand, like you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, like it's like you became like street ball been around for a long time, but it's like you became like the number one street baller, like like in that time, like like
Mm-hmm.
number one. I mean, like you had. I don't know if you realize that. I mean, like
Mm.
like when they approach you, like they wanted to take you to China and
Yeah.
all that other stuff. 'Cause I mean, like sometimes that stuff is like kind of like unheard of. Like
Mm.
someone like usually like you got the NBA and all of that, but they was coming at you like like you was like right on that level, like you was like
Mm-hmm.
high demand. I mean, like
Yeah.
was did that kind of surprise you
Of
or?
course. Yeah, it
Mhm.
definitely surprised me. Even to this day, I go to, the airport, the train
Mhm.
station, or wherever I am, and people run up and ask me for a picture. It
Mhm.
surprised me then, it surprises me now, but
Mhm.
what it taught me is that God is bigger than all of us.
Yeah.
So I did grow up in the projects. I grew up in the ghettos of Los Angeles,
Mhm.
but God has provided something so special for my life. All I had to do is make sure I go work on it.
Yeah.
And that's the message even I push today to the kids.
Mhm.
You don't have to grow up and be somebody. You were born somebody. It's all
Yeah.
about the work you put in. So it made me work harder to be who I am, even to this day.
Mhm.
You and I just left an event not too long ago,
Yeah.
and we really couldn't even walk around in there because when kids see their hero on the court,
Yeah.
it makes me feel good. And I remember, rest in peace, my dad used to say, "Son, who's the number one draft pick?" And I would blurt out a name, and he said, "Say your name next to his name."
Mhm.
And I would say, Cooper Flag, Bone Collector.
Mhm.
John Morant, Bone Collector. He said, see how it all sounds familiar? I
Mhm.
said, I guarantee you, you go to another country, eventually, if you keep working hard, you go to any country in the world, if you keep working hard, they'll know your name just as much as they know the next person's name that's in the NBA.
Yeah, and I know that you traveled the world playing ball. Like, what's some of the places you played at, like
Mm-hmm.
in the world?
I played in China, I played in Africa, I played in Australia, I played in Brazil, I played in Moscow, Russia, I've played in Indonesia. I've played in over 30, 40 countries throughout my career.
Wow.
So it's been an amazing journey for
Mhm.
me because I come from an area where you don't really see anything outside of your community.
Mhm.
And then I go get those experiences. And it's not about me going and being bone collectors, me going there and seeing a third world country where people don't have shoes. These kids are coming out to support you.
Mhm.
And it makes you realize and appreciate the things you have and try to
Mhm.
give them a little bit more than they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what it was like growing up, like in it's in L.A., right?
Pasadena, California. Yep.
Yeah. How was it growing up? In there.
Well, in the '90s, it was dangerous. It was dangerous times, gang
Mhm.
violence, and then there was a lot of racism going on with
Mhm.
the Watts riots and the LA
Mhm.
riots and the Rodney King and
Mhm.
Reginald Denny stuff and going on. There was a lot going on, and at the
Mhm.
time, music was really huge for Los Angeles.
Mhm.
Tupac Shakur, rest in peace, and
Mhm.
Snoop Dogg and those guys were just coming to the point where they were influencing music and movies and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very touchy situation for me. I had the opportunity to jump
Mm-hmm.
on both sides of the field, either be involved in gangs or,
Mm-hmm.
go and do sports. And I didn't play sports in high school.
Mm.
So I used to do what is called lunchtime games, where you go at
Yeah.
lunchtime and all the starting people, all the people that are on the
Yeah.
varsity,
Mm-hmm.
me and my homies would try to beat them, and we would
Mm-hmm.
always give them hell.
Yeah.
And then when I got out of school, my dad was, mind you, I was training every day. My dad told me to go to JUCO.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to my boy Robin Kennedy, Sickwood. It took me to Chaffey College, and I got a scholarship there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up being the #2 guard in the nation behind Jamal Tinsley, of all
Mm-hmm.
people, which is funny. I ended up meeting him later.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to Mount San Jacinto Junior College,
Mm-hmm.
Mount Sac, I believe it was. And
Mm-hmm.
I went to Chaffey. And from there, I got into some trouble. But then from there, I immediately went on to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to come to Rucker because I saw the first N1 mixtape, and I saw Skip to My Lou and all those guys, Kareem Reed and Big Strickland and Ali Mo.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw all these guys playing, and I was like, man, that style of basketball is what I like.
Mm-hmm.
And that, molded me for the future of what I'm doing now.
So you ever had like any favorite player, like say like I'm a NBA or street ball also like?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have even to this day, I have 5 players that I mold my game after.
Okay.
So the first was Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
The second was Kobe Bryant and
Mhm.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, my second was Iverson.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to hate on Kobe and Shaq because Iverson couldn't beat them.
Yeah.
So even though they would be in that spot, I used to be really against the Lakers because I always wanted Iverson to win a championship. So those 4 players, for sure: Iverson, Shaq, Kobe, Jordan. And then I moved from there. I started to watch players that people weren't really keying in on, but I used to love their game. I used to watch Nick Van Exel.
Yeah.
And then I used to
Nice.
watch Damon Stoudemire a lot.
Yeah,
And then I used to
nice.
watch a guy named Mahmoud Abdul Rauf.
Yeah, Chris Jackson.
And what I was watching, I didn't understand because it was just so deadly. Like everything they did was deadly. And then as I got older, I wanted to make sure I was more of a beast than anything. So I stopped watching everybody, and I only watched Giannis and LeBron. I don't watch any other. I didn't watch anybody else but those two because I wanted to combine. I used to say to myself, what if there was a guard that was under 6 feet or 6 feet that was just as strong as LeBron and Giannis, but had handles like Nick Van Exel and Damon Stoudemire and Chris Jackson, I think he changed his name to, and Iverson. So that I molded my game from there. And then later on, I became real good friends with Kyrie Irving and James Harden, and I used to work with them on a few things. So I kind of molded my entire situation out of those particular players. And then the #1 player, rest in peace, my dad, who was basically a smaller version of Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and I remember some of the stuff that you're talking about, like far as like because I had seen a clip like like they had you working with like the NBA players, like working on their dribbling skills. You remember some of the players that you helped with with their dribbling?
Yeah, there's a
to
lot
get
of
better?
them. For that particular question, I can't answer that because I
Okay.
work with them, some of them now. and-
Okay, yeah. So but that's yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Drake. Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
seen the clip with Drake and all that. Did he get better? Or
Well, Drake is a diehard hooper. He wants to
Okay.
learn the game and so on and so forth. But I think people ask me this question every year, every interview, and I always tell them Drake is a musician. He
Yeah.
loves music, and to ask him if he's a good basketball player, he's not an NBA player. So
yeah, he just
when you
enjoy playing the game.
when you ask that
Yeah.
question, I think it's a double-sided sword. He loves the game. He can shoot the basketball.
Mhm.
Like there's other artists that can play basketball too, like J. Cole, Chris Brown can play
Yeah.
basketball.
Mhm.
And if I had to compare them and say who's better and things like that, I would say it depends on where you're at. And in those scenarios, working with Drake, what I like the most is Drake he really wanted to learn everything. He wanted to learn the hesitation. He already was, a decent shooter. And from the last time I worked up with him till now, he's gotten a lot better.
Okay.
And I get in trouble for that too because I'm cool with Kendrick Lamar as well. So that from that rap battle, I stay away from all those questions now. You know, I'm like, okay,
And you just
changes.
and when I just look at you have like the longevity. I mean, like what keeps you going? I mean, like I already know that you stay in good physical shape and mentally and physically and all that. What's like your motivation? To keep playing, and then I know that you still play at a high level.
Hmm.
So how you make that happen?
Well, I look at it like, my motivation has always been just to make sure that I'm comfortable being a strong black man.
Hmm.
That's my most motivation. Because when I was young, I was always afraid to, I would bite my tongue on certain things because I thought it was not cool to express to people that
Hmm.
I'm black and I'm proud. That was a song that back in the day. I used to hear that a lot,
Hmm.
but I didn't think it was wrong. I just
Hmm.
thought people already knew that. I thought that
Hmm.
when you're black, you're not supposed to tell people how good you are.
Hmm.
And even now, it's always a touchy subject, when you speak on your race, and race is
Hmm.
big, big in the world. But it's a part of our culture, racism, slavery, that stuff is a real thing.
Hmm.
So what motivates me now is to see, little kids grow up, no matter what color they are, and tell them to be proud of who they are and be in their own skin.
Hmm.
So when a kid sees me now, they have no idea how old I am.
Hmm.
They don't know that I'm, 40 something years old,
Hmm.
almost 50 years old. They don't even see it. They don't see it
Yeah.
that way.
Hmm.
So my motivation is to make sure my kids, my two boys, Tyler and King,
Hmm.
King being 10 and Tyler being 19,
Hmm.
that they see their father working so hard on
Hmm.
becoming the best version of himself that it motivates them to do the same thing.
Hmm.
Because I'm not comparing myself to anybody. I like to make sure I do the mirror check. You get
Yeah.
in the mirror, you make sure you feel strong and comfortable. You make
Hmm.
sure you're healthy. And the main thing that with that is, it's not about how you look, it's about how your mind feels.
Yeah.
So I used to go out and hang out and party with people that I shouldn't and things
Yeah.
like that. And that was making me think that I was accomplishing something. But when I started doing that mental therapy and getting that mental piece and getting mental health correct, it started to change the way I do everything. So,
Hmm.
I would cut my social media off and so on
Hmm.
and so forth. I didn't grow up with that. So I don't, even to this day, it's not a necessity. It is something that helps me pay the bills for my kids and so on and so forth. So
Hmm.
I'm very thankful for it, but I use it just for that. And then the main thing is, it took me years to understand this. None of this works without
Hmm.
your connection to God. And I think that that's the touchiest subject in the world right now, because
Hmm.
people are very iffy about what they should say about God. I just know for a fact in my particular lifestyle that God has to be in control because my rules won't work.
Hmm.
So that is what my motivation is. Anything that I can, if I make up the rule, I can break the rule. So if you allow God to kind of lead you, all you have to do is do the work. He'll always keep the doors open. I just had an amazing connection today with some guys that are here
Hmm.
where I am now, and that is a testament to what I'm talking about now. When you let God do the work, the people that are already doing God's work will have doors open for you because they need these spots filled. There's a community of people that is building this thing that we call life.
Yeah. So like if what kind of advice would you give, like say like the older bone collector, what
Hmm.
kind of advice would you give to the younger bone collector?
Uh, oh man, so many things. I would say the first thing is, don't get that BC tattoo on your neck, because after that, I didn't stop. um,
Mhm.
no, realistically, I would say, and that's a good question. I
Mhm.
think the main thing would be is to make sure that you do the things that you need to do
Mhm.
for your family. Make sure your
Mhm.
family is strong. Make sure you
Mhm.
keep them strong. Don't go MIA on your family just because you're
Mhm.
trying to build something.
Mhm.
Keep your family strong because you never know how long you will see them. You lose somebody in your
Mhm.
family, it could change your life.
Mhm.
Losing my father taught me that. So I
Yeah.
would have definitely said, stay closer to your family. And then
Mhm.
number two, I know this is also a touchy thing, but
Mhm.
don't involve yourselves, don't even put yourself in situations that are not for you. So
Yeah.
it could be the wrong girls, it could be the wrong friends, it could be
Mhm.
the wrong crowd, it could be the wrong everything, it could be the wrong
Mhm.
outfits,
Mhm.
the wrong colors you're wearing. Don't
Mhm.
involve yourself with things that don't fit the criteria who you are,
Mhm.
because trying to fit in is only going to get you in bad situations.
Mhm.
And then lastly, it would be, make sure you save your money,
Mhm. Yeah.
because Not knowing how to invest the money you make is the biggest downfall as we get older and older. Think prices get higher. You don't, you never know what you could have done if you'd have put a nest egg to the side or something to the side, and and kind of build something that lasts longer than what you can buy today. And then lastly, go to therapy. When something's wrong with you, go talk to somebody about it instead of holding it in and acting like you got to walk around with your chest up and just go talk to somebody because I've been triggered very easily by words throughout my entire life. So sometimes I hear things that I don't want to hear and I just black it out. But that's not always healthy because those things come out eventually in other ways. So I would say, those particular things would be the most important thing I would tell my younger self.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and people can grow off of that. To the viewers that's listening, you can add that to your repertoire and learn some good stuff here that can help benefit your life and all of that. Especially if you're a youngster coming up and all of that. Just you could take some of this guidance. You could take this jewel that Bone Collector's passing on because it's very positive, and I think that that it would definitely enhance and help you out in life, especially things like these youngsters go through, like the growing pains and all of that, and so that's really like good stuff and all that.
Thank you.
And getting back to basketball, right? What you think, like if like, because I mean you got a complete game and all that. You got a complete game. Do you think there's any like a flaw in your game, or you like or
I would just say the main thing for me is I got to get better at defense every year.
Oh, okay.
So my offense is always going to be dangerous, but every year I got to guard the best person. Like right now I'm old, I'm 47, but I'm going to play in the next chapter. Although anything that's out where the top offensive players are, I got to play in that because I love the game so much that I have to grow, and the only way I evolve is on defense. The offense doesn't really mean much for me because I can do it in my sleep. But if I can guard everybody, and it's going to give me more confidence than anything. So that's where I aim for every day.
Yeah, because some people, they really kind of believe, like they say like you unguardable. You think,
I would agree.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
Because I know like from some of the games that I've seen you play and people play against you, it seemed like they kind of like
They're scared.
And then they'll try to double team or triple team and all that. So I mean, I think you might like get a kick out of that, like when they the triple team, because you think you could break the triple team sometime, like with your handle, or because I seen you do it. I mean, I mean he's a good friend of mine, so I'll be watching like his game and all of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, offense is, like I said, that's something that, and you being a New Yorker, you know that offense is easy. When you playing defense, that's the hardest thing because if you grew up in your era, especially, you got to guard Rod Strickland and Kyrie's dad and all these people and Master Rob and all these people. You definitely got to be on your A game.
Yeah, you got to,
and I don't think you're going to stop any of those players, Booger Smith and all the people that were before. That my time here in New York, you're not gonna, your offense won't be enough. So you're gonna have to go out there, and I think the best players that get to that highest level can do both.
Yeah. So it's kind of good to keep working on like your defense and all of that stuff. And,
I didn't bring it today, but I'm always carrying a dumbbell with me everywhere. Everybody knows that. That's why.
Well, you did got the dumbbell. I know it's probably put to the side or somewhere, but you.
So I use that as ways to make sure I'm always strong enough to get through screens and fight through everything I need to on defense.
So what you got coming up next? Like what you like doing, like like now, like some of your things that you working on, and because I know you do the training and all that other stuff. Like you can enlighten us all the stuff that you involved with.
Yeah, for right now, there's a lot going on. I signed with a company called 37 Partners in China. Shout out Meta World Peace, aka Ron Artest. I'm signed to his management group.
Shout out Meta.
So we do camps, clinics, and mental health programs in the United States. But there we do tutorials and things on the Douyin account, which is a Chinese account that's like kind of like a market for athletes and content, kind of like an Instagram. So I'm doing that, and then I work with a lot of NBA players. I have a lot of clientele in New York, all over the country, as far as individual personal training and group sessions. And then my company in itself, we do camps, mental health courses, and so on and so forth. And then as of now, I am now the ambassador of Rucker Park. Shout out to
big.
Wayne and Gus, rest in peace. Greg Marius. Um, I'm the ambassador of Rucker Park, so we have Bone Collector Week in August coming up this summer.
Wow.
That's going to be very nice, where there's going to be 4 different events held Monday through Thursday. It's going to be amazing, which will be followed off by a job corps seminar where the kids are going to be able to go out and apply for jobs in New York. There's some of those kids that don't have the opportunity to get money in the way that is in legal ways, maybe, or maybe they've come home from being incarcerated. Maybe they just don't have parents at home. They can still apply for jobs and get them things to help them. And then I'm also working on, there's a documentary being filmed about my streetball career. And that's going to be a 5-part series, finale in China. And I also play pro basketball. I just finished my 3rd season in Moscow, Russia. Coming off of a couple championships, and then I leave to go to China again to play pro basketball in 12 weeks. That's going to be something amazing for me, because at that particular moment I'll be the oldest professional player in that region. And then today I just came in contact with some of your good friends. They have a lot of good things going over here over here. I think we're near where the Knicks facilities are, and I think that's going to open up some more doors that'll be very beneficial for me doing camps and clinics and things that in the area. Because one thing I love about New York, when you're in New York and they love you, they will put you where you need to be. So I think that and on top of that, I'm also working on, there's a lack in mental awareness. So I think bullying and mental awareness and social being aware of your social presence is big. So I'm working with different companies on ways to alleviate that. There's a company called Radar that's a bullying app, where they make sure that they go in and they monitor what your kids are posting and watching, because Instagram is just a highway for just destruction if you're not careful. And so I'm working big on making sure that I prepare myself to be a real mentor and not just shoot a basketball, give these kids some real confidence and give them something they can use to build their futures in the long run.
That's great. That's great. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yeah, like in the audience, do anybody got a question for Bone Collector that that you would like to ask?
How you doing, sir?
Question. I realize, all that you're doing, definitely a major sensation. Love to hear what you're saying. There's no documentary of you, man. You think about doing any documentaries?
Yeah, that was the last part I was going to get at. That was what I said about the 5-part series, the finale in China. That is something that has been in the works for the last 15 years. I have so much content from me working with all the artists, Drake and Shaquille O'Neal and Allen Iverson, rest in peace, Kobe, and I had all this content. That documentary needs to be done. It needs to be filmed, but it's a very delicate. It's like taking care of a baby, and I think that it's going to take someone to see my vision, and obviously to do a documentary, those are very heavy on the budgets. And I've been working with a few companies on trying to get that done, but there's always a scenario where something comes up where maybe this person doesn't see it in this way, and something happens. But the best thing about it is I'm an active player, and I have a lot of things going on community-wise, and I'm still developing and training and doing these things. So to answer your question, the documentary will be coming, and it's something that is going to be very valuable. And now that I'm in the mode of doing that, I really think that it's going to take a scenario where a person either from that background or someone that can handle that sort of pressure, because we're talking about a documentary where it's gang violence, guns, drugs. It'll be like Training Day and Above the Rim combined. So I don't believe companies will be comfortable with that, because sometimes it doesn't meet the criteria, but it is my life and it's what I lived. So I want that story told that way. I'm not going to compromise. So however long it takes, I'm willing to wait and get it done. So to answer your question, yes. Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Huh?
Yeah, actually, I do. feel hands down best point guard?
Of all time?
Hands down best point guard.
Mm.
If you ever have a problem, like a real problem, I know you said nobody can guard you.
Uh-huh.
If you ever have a problem with, because everybody say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jamal Tinsley,
Mm-hmm.
Future,
Yeah.
Skip to my room.
Yeah.
When you played against those guys, was it any?
Listen, arrogantly I could say no, but the truth is they are all hard problems. So when I say I didn't have a problem, if I have 30 and they have 20, I feel good, right? But giving up 20 points is a problem. So when I say that, I'll give you a scenario. I came to a game and there was a player out there warming up. He had braids. He was kind of looked like Iverson at the time. He went to St. John's. His name is Marcus Hatton. He was so good, I didn't understand what I was dealing with in the first half. He had about 20. I had to guard him the whole game. That was a problem. But me being a warrior, I figured to myself, oh, you're arrogant. You think that just because you've mastered these guys that you played against, and Rutgers every week you play, the people you're playing, but he had just came up from somewhere else. So I'm thinking, I'm about to, and I'll never forget that. From that moment on, I knew I could never go into a situation and be like, okay, I'm better than this person. Because I don't know if people know who Marcus Hatton is, but he was a really good basketball player.
He played for St. John's.
And then there was another scenario where I went to just a random gym when I first got here, and Jerry McCullough, a guy named Speedy Williams, Malloy Naismith, and God Shamgod were playing a game called Three Dribbles. They were playing in a gym called Minnesink. I knew they couldn't guard me, but what I didn't know is that everybody that I named was an animal. So it took a game or two to see what was going on. You don't know you're jumping in fire without the right weapon. So it made me be more prepared for everything. So when I say that nobody, I'm not worried about anybody, it's because I went through the fire and I know the difference. And I'm not one of those people that has to learn tomorrow. I'll learn the next play. Because in basketball, I believe the more you get shook, the better you are on defense. So I would always take the risk. I didn't know those guys. Come to find out, those were some of the most legendary players in New York City. So, and me guarding them chest to chest, I was gonna have to deal with some pain and some fire. Rest in peace. I learned that also with a guy named Ali Mo, the Black Widow. And he would do things that I never seen, like me being smaller than him. He would dribble down and he would point and he would spin all the way around and wrap the ball around his body and my body. And I'm like this, but I'm coming back quick because I'm a street baller, but I still don't know where the ball is. So at this point, I'm just gonna foul you at that point, right? So I had to learn that. You don't be arrogant with your weapons. Just be prepared for what's next.
One more question.
Mm-hmm.
Was it somebody that you enjoyed playing the backcourt with?
Oh, my favorite player ever to play in the backcourt with was, rest in peace, Corey Homicide Williams. A dangerous, just beast. Only person I've ever seen tell me before the game, hey, Bone, they're going to make me shoot the jump shot, right? I was like, yeah, they are, bro. He's like, no, they're not. I'm driving to the basket every play. And I'd be like, Homicide, there's no way you can drive every play. Boy, we get in the game. Some games, I wouldn't even get warmed up. Homicide already have 30 in the first half, and he ain't shot one jump shot. Rest in peace, Homicide. He taught me how to be a real professional, too, because he was always respectful. So being good at basketball doesn't mean you have to be arrogant and be, an asshole to someone. He was always respectful. He talked his crap, but after the game, he always kept it respectful. And I learned that level of being a professional, too, because Homicide was playing in the park with me, but he was an NBA player in my eyes. So, that was one of my favorite players to play in the backcourt with.
Yes, yeah, Homicide, he was different. Yeah, I ain't gonna front. Homicide, he was the real deal. Because that's yourself and all that, and and I'm glad, you took time out your schedule to sit down and have a conversation,
Of course.
you know,
Well, we
'cause,
family, Mouse. Come on
yeah,
now,
yeah,
stop
yeah.
playing, bro.
And this is must-see basketball. Yeah, I mean, this is my guy and all that,
Mouse won't tell
Listen-
you that we shoot all the time. We do shooting contests because he won't play me anymore. You know, he got that bad hip and all that. But he gets chopped cheese. That's what they call it. Chop him down, chop him down. So Mouse, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
I think we should do more as we develop more
Oh, yeah,
things.
for
we
sure,
we
for
go on
sure.
here and talk about
sure.
it if you have the time.
Yeah, and he's definitely, not only I know he's definitely one of my favorite players because I mean, like, when I seen him play, I was like, it was phenomenal. I was like, cause like he's like not from New York, right? So I'm so used to seeing a lot of New York players in the tournaments and stuff. So he just came with a different flair. So it was like, and then my son that grew up and watching him play, that was my son's, he's my son's favorite player, and like, and then I just wanted to talk about this one game. I remember he came to the neighborhood. I ain't gonna never forget that, and was in Melrose, and he put on a show. I mean, like, and he was the opposing team, and it seemed like the show that they put on and then he put on, it seemed like the crowd was rooting for them. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how
Didn't seem like it. They were. What
Yeah,
you talking about?
it was so
I
much
remember that game.
entertaining and all that.
Y'all was trying to heckle me. Tell the truth. They was trying to talk crap because I was from California, and I killed them. And I had on Chuck Taylors or Nike. I had on Nike Cortez. That's why they were making fun of me.
Yeah.
But that was a good experience.
So,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I always, I wish we could get that footage because that was definitely a must-see basketball game.
Yeah.
But like I said, we sitting here, we want to give you your flowers. Like I'm quite sure you
Thank
got
you.
a lot of flowers, and you very deserving of them. And keep doing what you're doing. And like
Thank you.
I myself know that you keep yourself in great shape. You know what I'm saying? Minus the age and all of that, because you definitely like the age don't fit the player. Because I mean, like you still play at a certain level that is like it's like unbelievable. And I think you're one of the only person that I know that work out like every day, that play almost like every day. And it's like, and that within itself is going to keep you sharp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it's like, just keep doing what you're doing. And like I said, I'm very appreciated. I appreciate you coming down, sitting down, and we give you your flowers. And like I said, this
Thank
is
you.
Larry Williams, AKA the Bone Collector.